Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another edition of the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show on the planet. I'm your host, Michael Karvelis, and this is Daily Dive. It is Wednesday, March the 4th, 2026, and this show begins now. We are live streaming via the airwaves of North American Talk Radio on YouTube. Please subscribe before you leave today's show for other great shows, live sports like Illinois Wesleyan College sports, and more. On today's awesome show, I'm going to first talk about my general manager, head coach, and defensive player of the year award races. There's been a little bit of a shakeup in the general manager and defensive player. There's some new faces, so we'll get to that first. Then we'll talk to a big guest on today's show, Scott Fox. Some of you may have heard his voice in Toronto, whether it be on radio or podcasting or in arena host for the Toronto Rock. That and more with him. And finally, I'll get to my NLL power rankings following week number 14's 10-game slate. Before we get started on today's show, this show is presented by the NLL merchandise that you can find at natalkradio.us/NLL. Head there to find the Amazon shop. It just gives us credit when you go there because Amazon's like, oh, I guess those guys sent you here. And that we did. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to give my General Manager of the Year rankings right now. We've been splitting up our awards to save time and, quite frankly, social media algorithms here. First off, here is my General Manager of the Year right now. I've got Brad Self at number 1, John Arlotta at number 2 of the Swarm, Ottawa Black Bears Dan McCray in 3rd, and Sean Williams, hello Sean, of the Las Vegas Desert Dogs in 4th. Now, Brad Self currently has the lead because of the additions of Andrew Q and Jack Hanna. I keep telling people it's not like, the Dogs were just giving up Jack Hanna. Brad Self had to find a way to get that done, and he finally did so. Andrew Q, after the kind of a down years he had in Georgia, has been a godsend in that Colorado offense. And, of course, they've got young guys stepping up and tied for the second best record in the NLL. Now, the reason why Sean Williams has entered the chat, while the Dogs are only 4-6, 3 of their top 5 point getters this year are new members of the team. You can blame that on Joe Size money, or you don't. I don't know who you give credit to. I'm giving credit to Sean Williams because you have to want to play for the GM and the coach, and he is both. But in terms of general managership, I feel like he's done a good job. The team is at least more competitive than it has been historically. Now to my coach of the year, I have Ed Cuomo at number 1 of the Georgia Swarm, Dan McCray of the Black Bears number 2 on this list, Pat Coyle of the Mammoth at 3, and Matt Sawyer of the Rock at 4. Again, Toronto Rock, I know there's a lot of people who don't really care for Matt Sawyer, but this year they do have a bunch of rookies on the team. The team is already 6-5. They were 6-12 last year. That matters. They are first in caused turnovers, and they do have a win versus Colorado after getting blasted the week before. For Pat Coyle, his team is 4-1 on the road, including the 9-3 record after an 8-10 mark last year. They are 4th in team shot percentage and 2nd in goals scored. Dan McCray's team is 7-5 after an 8-10 record last year. They are 4th in loose balls, 3rd in goals for, and the Black Bears have low-key beaten the Rush, which seems like a long time ago, and the Buffalo Bandits. And finally, Ed Cuomo of the Swarm, after a 9-9 record last year, now has an 8-4 mark. Guys, the Swarm are 5-2 on the road. That is very impressive for a young team. They are the 3rd youngest team in the league, 3rd in caused turnovers, and they also won a game at Colorado in which they had Dylan Ward running for his life, and he ended up getting benched in the 3rd and 4th quarters. So that's happened. You can shop it in the comments if you'd like. Before I get to my defensive player of the year comments, before I get to my defensive player of the year award, In the comments, Mimico Trike is back saying fire Sawyer. Captain says Mimico Trike, don't scare away our Toronto Rock guest. Put him on the hot seat. We already did that yesterday, man. Even though I'll admit Matt Sawyer. The Toronto Rock game against the Bandits this past weekend left a sour taste in my mouth, but I still got to give Matt Sawyer due because they have a winning record with a young roster. Oh, and by the way, forgot to mention, Troy Holachuk, I know he's been playing well. Part of that has to be Matt Sawyer's defense. Well, Matt Sawyer and the way he's coached this team. They've missed like 5 games of Nick Rose, and that has to matter in this conversation. Finally, my defensive player of the year. And still, it is Callum Jones. Now, Callum Jones is up to 27 caused turnovers. He has 114 loose balls. And as you'll see in this list, by the way, some of these guys don't have a lot of loose balls. It's like Callum Jones's face-off guy is like almost non-existent. Robert Hope, part of one of the league's good defenses with Dylan Ward, is because Robert Hope has 20 blocks and 102 loose balls. And you're like, oh, well, he's got a good face-off guy. Polato's been really good, but he's like number 5 or number 6. He's not giving them a bunch of loose balls. Nick Tchaikovsky, listen, he's been good. A lone bright spot despite the Firewolves defense falling off. Oh, and by the way, Paul Dawson, 32 loose balls is brutal, but 27 block shots, that is as close to a goalie as you can get. And I feel like the block shots is a very important stat. I like both call servers and block shots, obviously, for this award. But when you are literally going like this, the goalie has to do nothing, and that is a huge advantage. Now, 32 loose balls, you have to skate the fine line of the transition player, but Paul Dawson stays a lot on defense, and the least he can do is pick up a few scraps. He ain't doing that, but 27 block shots obviously gets him on this list. Who is your defensive player of the year right now? Let me know in the comments or on social media at Daily Dive LAX. When we come back to this awesome show, we will bring in our guest, Scott Fox. Many of you who may recognize the voice, it's time to meet the man on this show. We'll be right back to Daily Dive. Don't go anywhere. I know you won't.
You're listening to North American Talk Radio, the all-new talk radio station featuring sports, movies, politics, mental health, and more. Check us out at natalkradio.com and subscribe today. Buy event tickets straight from our website to help the cause and get tickets to your favorite events for less. That's natalkradio.com. Thanks for listening.
Welcome back to Daily Dive, folks. Moments away from bringing on Scott Fox. Before I do that, I want to let you know this show. Head over to natalkradio.com and click the event tickets tab. And there you can support the brand by heading there. It takes you straight to the Vivid Seats platform where you can go to awesome events like the newly renovated, I think, TD Coliseum in Hamilton. But now let's bring on the man who's from the dang area, or at least is around there helping out the crew. Let's bring on Scott Fox. How are you, sir?
I'm great, Michael. How are you?
I'm awesome, and I want to thank you for joining us. I know that our good friend Captain met you He was fangirling, by the way, when he talked to me. We got to get this guy on the air, and here you are, man.
I'm really happy to be here. You have a great show, and I'm glad to contribute.
Well, you saying I have a great show is like kind of like you have a great show. Okay, that works too, I guess. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Yeah, I do a radio show and a podcast every day, so it's a lot.
It's hard. I can only you do it for more listeners, I'm sure. So that's the weight on it can be hard sometimes, man. So
absolutely. Doing a daily podcast, it's a commitment. It's like having a full-time job, but we do it because we love it and because there's certain things that need to be talked about. And I love that you're talking about lacrosse.
I love it. Before we get to that, I do want to get to how you got into this. I always tell people my story of like in 2016, I was told you should do a podcast. I'm like, what is a podcast? Now I know. Take me back to years ago when you started the whole sports media thing and how you got to this point.
Okay, so I mean, I've been a radio DJ now, doing morning radio for about 25 years. Woo! And podcasting was always something that I saw as the future of broadcast. It's a really easy way to reach people, and you can reach them on so many different platforms, not just FM radio. So I've been an early adopter on podcasting for a while, and I do a daily podcast about news and events. And what I try to do on mine is I try to offer a little more context and a little more audio than you would see on the news, for example. So when you watch the national news, they'll give you a 10-second clip of what the prime minister said. I'll give you the full 2-minute version so you can hear him in his own words talking about things like that. Not necessarily lacrosse related, but I'm always happy to talk about the Toronto Rock and Kufla. So I do slide those things in from time to time.
Got to keep the people guessing, man. That's awesome. I like that you give the context of something media doesn't do, and podcasting media especially does not do it like the old FM radio days. So let's get to the Toronto Rock now. I want to first talk about, because you've been around the block with them for a while. Take me through your earliest days with the Rock and how you've led to this point with that.
Well, I mean, first and foremost, I was a fan of the Rock. I was a season's ticket holder, and the team had reached a point where their in-game host that they had was wrapping up her tenure, and they were looking for somebody new. Me having a little bit of broadcast experience, having been a fan of the team and understanding the sport, I coached it, and I've run a couple of different minor organizations as well. I was familiar with the game, and it seemed like a perfect fit. It's hard to believe and amazing to say that that was 11 seasons ago, and I'm still with the team and still doing it. And being able to work for the team that you actually cheer for is an honor. I mean, I still find it surreal every time I walk into the arena.
That's awesome. I guess the fans haven't gotten tired of it because they still let you back, like you said, 11 years later. That's awesome.
You know, it makes me kind of question their judgment that I'm back every year. But no, I've been very, very fortunate. The Rock is a world-class sports organization, and they treat their people really, really well. And this isn't really work when you love it. And I love it. And I would be at these games anyway. So being able to play a part and contribute to the atmosphere and the fan experience, that's just a cherry on top.
Did you coin the phrase Rosie? Like you say that, right?
No, that would be the Hammer, Mike Hancock, up in the main booth. So there's two voices that you hear at a game. There's Hammer, who is up in the booth, and he's doing all the chants and stuff like that. I'm more the guy that you see during the TV timeouts and the intermissions and at halftime, stuff like that.
So you're like Charlie B. Like in Georgia, right?
Very, very similar. Yeah. I think each team sort of divides up who does what a little bit differently, but I don't think anybody does it like we do for the Rock. I
would have never guessed that Mike Hancock, the same guy who does their PR, also does the voice. That's kind of cool too. But you guys have to work together on that, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's a team, and we both play a role in trying to contribute to that fan atmosphere. And it's not just us either. I mean, we have an incredible DJ, and we've got a great game ops team, and it really is a village to make each game come to life.
So this year you guys have been in that new TD Coliseum thing. Tell me, especially because I'm down here in Georgia, I know nothing about that, but tell me about what it's done for the Rock and what it's done for the area with Hamilton events.
You know what? Having a pro sports in Hamilton is great because Hamilton is such a great sports market. And I mean, they've got a CFL team, which is great. The Ticats are awesome. Being able to add the Rock into that mix has been really good for Hamilton, Burlington, Brant, Niagara. It sort of opened us up to a whole new area of fans. TD Coliseum is beautiful. The renovations are great. It used to be First Ontario Centre, and basically that was a renaming from the original building, which was Cops Coliseum.
Wow.
This is a newer concept, and the arena was completely redone. It's nice inside. A little dark is some of the feedback that I hear from people. It's not the brightest building in the world, but it feels like home, and it feels like a good place for a lacrosse game to be played. The way they've set up the arena, the sight lines, it's a really unique experience, I think, for any NLL fan.
You mentioned the darkness because I kind of see what they're saying, but my favorite games to watch as a fan, at least on TV, because like the floor is brighter compared to the darkness. And to me, it's cool watching Vegas or San Diego, who does kind of a similar thing with the darkness. It looks like a Mystique, like as an away team, you're like, oh my God, as a fan, it looks awesome because you're highlighting the floor. Is that like a real feeling there?
It's yeah, I mean, it's definitely part of the feeling. The building is great. Like I said, the renovations took a while. We had to play one season away from home at the Paramount Fine and Food Center in Mississauga, which is directly between Hamilton and Toronto. And you know what? I mean, we missed being in Hamilton. It's a great building. And the reality is Scotiabank Arena in Toronto is quite full between the Leafs, the Raptors, the PWHL, the WNBA now, and all the concerts as well. That's why you're seeing a lot of concerts go to Hamilton. And it was a great fit, I think, for the Rock. They moving in there has been seamless, and the community has really embraced the team.
Now, you don't have to comment on this a lot, but Mimico Trike is not the only person I've seen mention about the Hamilton Rock. I feel like there's got to be like a 50-50 divide with the fans on that one. Like, I get what they're saying, but it's kind of like, you guys are Toronto Rock for years. Why change it now? What is your take on that?
I mean, I'm not privy to the conversations and what goes on there. I'm really just there for game operations on game day. But I can tell you that, yeah, I mean, there's some people in Hamilton that want the team to lean in completely and say, you're a Hamilton team. The reality is we play all of our home games in Hamilton. Our 50-50 fundraisers, for example, support the Smile Zone Foundation, which is building Smile Zones in Hamilton and Brantford. We go to community events in Hamilton all the time. Like, we've really leaned into it, but I think anybody outside the GTHA, Greater Toronto Hamilton area, needs to understand that it's just one big area now. There's really not a lot of daylight between Hamilton and Toronto, and we need more arenas because of the amount of events that happen in this city. And the reality is, I mean, we could be playing lacrosse games on a Tuesday night in Toronto, but it's much better to have a Saturday night game in Hamilton. And as far as changing the name is concerned, I mean, you've probably talked about it, the amount of teams that don't actually play in the physical city where they're from. I mean, look at the New York football teams. They play in New Jersey, right? Like, there's a lot of precedent for it. And, you know, just because we're still the Toronto Rock, and not apologizing for that as far as I'm concerned. I mean, we always were Toronto's lacrosse team. We've just moved a little further west to play our home games, and that was really for the accommodation of the fans. It allowed us to welcome in the Hamilton audience, and by and large, most people are really, really happy with it. And to be honest with you, I mean, it is the Toronto Rock. We play in Hamilton, but for the most part, the fans have really embraced Rock City, and Rock City is wherever the Rock are. And you know what? It doesn't really matter what the name is. If you're in Rock City and you're cheering for the blue and red, then you're a Rock fan.
It's kind of like, I mean, the Bears are having a similar situation. Oh, they're Indiana. They're the Chicago Bears. Stop that.
They're the Chicago Bears. Absolutely.
The name is the name.
Right.
So as a fan of lacrosse, as you mentioned, Toronto Rock, was it 6 championships in the NLL, which is ridiculous. I remember as a newer fan of the sport 5 years ago, I was kind of looking like, man, they got a lot of chips. So like, I was reading the bios and stuff. So you guys, like, you just saw them lose against Buffalo, but take me through your experience as a fan and what you think this team is doing versus old teams, and just tell me about your history as a fan and what you've seen this year and stuff like that.
I mean, I've watched a total evolution of this team, and you can really see the vision unfolding. You know, I mean, and I get the impression that it is a long-term plan. What the team did this year in the way of drafting and what they've been doing over the past couple of years, the rookies they brought in, I think they're positioned perfectly for a good, long, deep playoff run. And whether that happens, I think it could happen this year. I mean, when you look at the product on the floor, there's been a couple of setbacks. Absolutely. Losing to Buffalo the other night was a game that I didn't think we should have lost. But, you know, the reality is all the pieces are there. When you look at what you need, A strong defense, a strong offense, veteran leaders, good motivated rookies. The only piece that was really missing was, I mean, I think we heard a little bit at the face-off dot, not having TD Ierlan for this season.
Yeah.
And the fact that we just brought in a new face-off guy in Rowlett, I mean, that was the missing piece of the puzzle. And I think that once everything clicks, fans are really going to understand the vision for where this is going.
I love that. You mentioned the defense there. Matt Sawyer had said, on my coach of the year, their first thing calls turnovers, and that it helps out a guy like Holochuk, who's still trying to break in as a future starter, possibly. It's going to help Nick Rose when he does inevitably come back. So it's awesome stuff there. Watching CJ Kirst in person as you have so far this year, him and Owen Hiltz, man, like people thought they would be good early, but this is incredible stuff, man.
I mean, they're exceeding all expectations. I mean, for rookies to come in and dominate on the floor like they have, when you're the opposing defense, I don't know how you decide who you cover. You know, like if you decide you're going to cover Kirst, you're leaving Matthews open, or you're leaving Dalwick open, or you're leaving Boucher open. I mean, these are all guys that are a threat from every single spot on the floor. The defense on the opposition must be completely confused, because one of the things the Rock has done really well at, and it's a credit to the coaching, is they move the ball not just up and down, but they move it across the floor seamlessly. And they're setting up open looks and guys that can put the ball in the net so well. I mean, everybody's got an assignment and they're doing it. Everybody's buying in, and you can see it working. I mean, there's been real flashes of brilliance this season, and it all seems to be coming to a head as the playoffs approach.
I love that. So one more thing about this Rock team, and then we'll get to your commissioner work in a moment. Nick, give me a player or two that you've seen as the person who's been boots on the ground, obviously every week that you've been at the home games, you watched them up close. Give me one or two players that you think deserve more love than what they're getting on media side of things.
You know, I mean, you look at veterans out there like Brad Cree, like an anchor on the defense. Him and Billy Hostrauser have been absolute rock solid defense. They're reliable, they're consistent, they know where to be on the floor, and they follow their assignments. Then you add in some of the rookie talent that we've got. Younger players that don't get enough attention. I mean, I think you have to look at Elijah Gash, and you've got to look at Phil Mazuka in particular.
Yep.
If you're an offensive player coming into our zone and you've got to decide, am I going to go against Mazuka or Gash? I mean, I don't like either of those options, especially when Cree and Hostrauser are right behind them. You know, our defense has been rock solid this year, and they're really helping out the goalies, and they're getting the ball through transition back to the offense so quick. I mean, the way the team moves the ball, I don't know that there's many teams in the NLL that can do it as effectively as Toronto can.
I remember like the first game at Oshawa, like I just remember the precision passing. It's something like some teams it's almost like they take it for granted, like the accurate passing. When you put it in stride every single time, it just sets up the offense so much better, giving you guys a chance, like Jowick, who struggled to start the year and stuff like that.
Yeah, you know, I mean, every single person is playing for one purpose. And when they can look around the floor, when they've got the confidence with the ball, that they can look for the open man, or they can find the guy who's making a move towards the goal. I mean, that just shows that we've got a good defense and great transition. Another player that's not getting enough credit is Sam English. I mean, that was another fantastic draft pick. And the way Sam can move that ball up and down the floor, the other team can't even get their defense on the floor fast enough, because we're just so quick at getting the ball down into the offensive zone. It's a credit to the defense and a credit to the coaching as far as I'm concerned. Bruce Codd working with a bunch of rookies essentially, and then having that the experience from the leaders there has just found a perfect combination for how it should be done.
You know, if Sam English is your second or third best rookie, it's not a bad third option.
That's the thing. And you know what? I'm not prioritizing them by any means, but when you look at the threats out there, and like I said earlier, if you're the opposing offense coming into our zone, I don't know where you go, because there's just not a lot of space. We clog up the floor, and we have guys that are aggressively pressing you. You don't have a lot of time to make a decision with the ball if you're the opposing offense.
And pick the spot on your body you want to bruise the next day. It's pretty much what I'm guessing here.
Basically, because you know what? You're going to feel it, right? If you bring that ball into our zone, our defense is that good and that confident with the ball that it's not really a good proposition.
I love it. Let's get to this. I mean, Pat Gregoire trying to jump the gun early. I see you, Patty G. He's like, what did he say? Would love to know about Mr. Fox commissioner stuff. All right, so You are commissioner of the Canadian University Field Lacrosse Association. From what I can tell from the Instagram, and again, I'm down here in Georgia, forgive me, storied history. How long have you been doing this for yourself? And what do you like about that role? And tell me what that role entails for you.
Sure. So it's CUFLA, the Canadian University Field Lacrosse Association, and the equivalent for you would be the NCAA. Canadian universities play lacrosse too, and one of my goals as commissioner has been to try and get the word out about that. There's a heck of a lot of great lacrosse players, as you know, coming out of Canada, specifically Ontario and BC and Alberta, and a lot of them are tempted to go down and play ball in the U.S. And while that's great for some players, it's not the right fit for everybody from an educational standpoint, from a practicality standpoint. And really my goal over the last number of years has been to let people know that you can stay and play in Canada. And there's a lot of advantages to doing that. It's high level lacrosse. It's a fast paced game. And I want people to know that there is that option that you can play post-secondary here. So CUFLA just celebrated its 40th anniversary. Every year we play for the Bagataway Cup, which is our national championship. This year it was played in Brampton, Ontario, and the University of Guelph was the champions this year. And that was after Western University in London won it for 3 straight years. We have teams in Ontario and Quebec. It's a great league, and this is my 4th season as commissioner.
I was looking, there you go, he's popular. I was looking on NLStats.com at the hometowns. Ontario, I lost track of like 70 or 80 players. I was like, okay, this thing's one. Like, there is obviously where they're from. If they can stay home and play and learn the game, I'm sure it's great.
It checks a lot of boxes as well, because our season doesn't, in Canada, the lacrosse season is in the fall at university. And there's no conflict with junior A lacrosse. And I know that there's a lot of Americans that aren't just interested in playing Canadian university lacrosse. There's a lot of financial advantages, and it's a great education when you go to world-class universities like McGill, Western, University of Toronto, etc. So there's a lot of Americans coming up because it allows them to play junior A here. And that's where they really develop their game and get themselves ready to be drafted. One other thing I'd also point out about CUFLA is we have a specific rule that doesn't apply in many other leagues, that if you're playing Canadian university lacrosse, you can play pro lacrosse simultaneously.
Love that.
So we have guys that play university lacrosse that are also in the NLL, and a couple of coaches as well. That's
amazing. Captain has a good question here. He said, do you see a scenario where Canadian and U.S. schools like NCAA and CUFLA, because lacrosse is such a niche thing, can you guys play each other, or how would that work?
You know what? I mean, I'm totally open to that possibility. Could it work? Yeah, absolutely. It's really just a matter of fine tuning things, because it's a spring sport in America and it's a fall sport in Canada. We aren't necessarily all practicing and playing at the exact same time. But if there's an appetite for it with the U.S. schools, fine. Although, you know what, I really don't feel the need to be validated in America as a Canadian league. And no offense, but you know what, we've got really good high caliber lacrosse going on here. And it's really just a matter of more people finding out about it.
I guess when you just think about it, like from a broad perspective, like both countries can grow the game, and then the NLL is where they meet. Like, you're right. Like, there's no reason to really do that if there's no really huge benefit out. It's interesting stuff there.
Other than just morbid curiosity and the love of the game and competition in general, there's not really a need to do it. But if there's ever an opportunity to do some sort of a Can-Am series, I think that a lot of our schools would be interested. And to be honest with you, we do have individual universities that will travel to the States. They'll do a bus tour. I know that McGill is pretty big on playing teams in the U.S. Northeast. They'll play them for exhibition games, scrimmages, preseason, that sort of thing. So we're totally open to it. We love our friends in the States, but the league itself is thriving up here right now.
The Olympics just happened. No offense to you guys. I'm kidding. The Olympics just happened, and it's like maybe a college Olympics. That would be a nice little, just for a couple of weeks. It'd be interesting.
Cool. It's totally doable. Setting up more international play in lacrosse, I think, would be interesting for a lot of people. And you know what? It does help the other countries who are up and coming to play some of the stronger countries like Canada and the U.S. That's the only way they're going to get better and understand the speed of the game in North America.
All right, one more question from Pat Gregoire. He says, is there any possibility for Kufla to become a sanctioned sport by U.S. or U Sports?
Yeah. So, I mean, in football and basketball and many other sports, there's a league called U Sports, and that would be basically the equivalent of what we're doing. Kufla's always been independent because initially the OUA or U Sport wasn't necessarily interested in men's lacrosse. They have women's lacrosse, but not men's. And to be honest with you, the men's lacrosse league operating independently and not necessarily a U Sport, we've done great. I mean, there was over 1 million eyes total that connected with the Bagataway Cup this year back in November. And there's eyes on it. It grows every single year. There's actually fans going and buying tickets to go to games in some cases. We've got a great thing going. I don't know that it necessarily needs to be a quote unquote U sport, but if that happens, then so be it.
Okay, I lied. Sixes. This is actually going to, like, you guys, I don't know, like, would you guys consider that, or was that not really your avenue of lacrosse there?
So sixes is something that we've talked a lot about, and what we've sort of worked on over the last couple of years, and we'd hoped to roll it out, but there were some changes in university funding here in Canada. So it didn't launch for this past September, but one of our goals is men's lacrosse, the traditional way, like we play in Kufla now, is going to continue to be played at our universities. However, Kufla is also helping Canadian colleges get sixes off the ground. And sixes is a great sport for college, which has a 2-year cohort as opposed to a 4-year cohort, and smaller rosters as well. So there are a number of Ontario colleges that are in the process of organizing so that we can have sixes. This past year at the Bagataway Cup, we did a showcase, 2 colleges. It was Humber College versus Mohawk College. They played each other, and it was really great to see Ontario colleges playing a game at the university championship. It just sort of brings all lacrosse that's post-secondary under one umbrella, and that's sort of the goal with what we're doing in trying to help the colleges get off the ground with sixes.
I love that. Now, one more thing before I let you go. You are Scott Fox on air. Is there anything you want to tell my viewers that they might be interested in coming up on your show, or any parting shots you want to give before I let you go here?
Sure. I mean, my podcast is called Scott Fox After 9. It's a daily podcast, comes out every day after 9. That's why I call it that. And it's a daily look at news, events, things like that, with a little bit of commentary. Basically, what I try to do is provide context to what you're not seeing on the news. Other than that, check out the podcast for sure, but come to a Toronto Rock game. It's one of the best sporting events you could ever attend. We have a great crowd, great building, a fantastic team that's on an upward trajectory, and you know, the sky's the limit for this roster.
I love it. Well, that actually worked out well. I will try to give him a proper goodbye here, but if that does not work, we appreciate Scott Fox. That's awesome stuff, man. Those in-arena hosts, I mean, their personalities are awesome, man. Like, super positive. Again, we appreciate Scott Fox. Thankfully, he did not do that earlier in the interview. Thankfully, that was pretty much the end of it. But Scott Fox, that was awesome for him coming on. I know, again, I'm in Georgia. I'm not as fangirling as Captain was, but I'm sure a lot of people in Toronto really appreciate the work that he does. So that's amazing. Well, folks, when we come back, we got one more segment to do. It is Mike's NLL Power Rankings. Actually, let's do it one more time. Let's tell Fox. Let's give him a proper goodbye here, man. It was pretty much it, but we appreciate you, man.
I'm really sorry about that. Yeah. It was just bad luck with the internet here.
Right. Thank you so much, sir. Again, even for popping back on, that was great. You have a great rest of your day, man.
Thank you very much, and keep doing what you're doing. We need more people talking about the sport, and awareness is everything. I think once people try out an NLL game, they're really going to enjoy what they see. And as far as university lacrosse is concerned in Canada, if you ever have the opportunity to go to a game, we play from September until November, and it really is great lacrosse. If you're a high school student, I want you to know you've got options. You don't have to go down to the States and play for an obscure school and wait until your 3rd year to even touch the field. You're going to get serious looks and serious consideration right out of the gate here in Canada. We have scholarships available. It really is a great sport, and stay and play is a real thing. If you go to kufla.ca, you can read a lot more about the Canadian game and some of the opportunities that are available at our universities.
See, that was worth it. There we go. I'll throw it up on the screen now. That was worth it, baby. Thank you for that, man. Hey,
Thanks again. It was really great to talk to you.
Yes, sir. You too. Thank you, Scott.
Take care.
I see. That's why you wait and make sure. That was awesome. All right, folks. Mike's NLL Power Rankings are coming up next here on this edition of Daily Dive.
You're listening to North American Talk Radio, the all-new talk radio station featuring sports, movies, politics, mental health, and more. Check us out at natalkradio.com and subscribe today. Buy event tickets straight from our website to help the cause and get tickets to your favorite events for less. That's natalkradio.com. Thanks for listening. You're listening to North American Talk Radio, the all-new talk radio station featuring sports, movies, politics, mental health, and more. Check us out at natalkradio.com and subscribe today. Buy event tickets straight from our website to help the cause and get tickets to your favorite events for less. That's natalkradio.com. Thanks for listening.
Hey, welcome back to the Black Hole. I'm kidding. Welcome back to Daily Dive. I'm your host, Michael Karvelis. Earlier, I showed you my GM of the Year race. Brad Self, John Arlotta, Dan McRae, and Sean Williams. My Coach of the Year, Ed Cuomo, Dan McRae, Pat Coyle, and Matt Sawyer. My Defensive Player of the Year, I got Callum Jones, Robert Hope, Nick Tchaikovsky, and Paul Dawson. It's now time to get to my NLL Power Rankings. Before we do that, if you want to go to the game in your area, including a Hamilton game, well, Toronto Rock game in Hamilton, I did it, natalkradio.com, click the event tickets tab, and if you were like, oh my gosh, what's on my body? Nothing. NLL merch is found at natalkradio.us/NLL, and I did confirm this. You can't get the unboxed or any NLL merch in Canada. I got to wonder what they're doing about that. There are team stores online you can go to, but one centralized location would be great. All right, folks. Let's get into my power rankings. I've got the Rush at number 1 still. 0-2 weekend. I don't care. 2 overtime losses against 2 desperate teams, and call me crazy for calling it before the week even happened that both teams might win those games. I've got Colorado sticking at number 2. I didn't like Dylan Ward being pulled, but Nathan Whittam was not too shabby, and the comeback against the San Diego Seals. Vancouver will stay put at number 3. Warriors went 2-0. They handled 2 teams I thought they would. Number 4, the Buffalo Bandits are number 4. Pat Gregoire said they're a top 4 team. I agree. I don't think the Swarm's offense, who are number 5, can compete. I think when Matt Vince is on it, that's enough to level the field a little bit with this year's version of Brett Dobson. I think Buffalo would win that game in a 3-game series, or win that matchup in a 3-game series. Like I said, Swarm number 5. Rochester has climbed back up to number 6. I think Rochester is a team that we were kind of down on. I was down on. They had those rough games against Vancouver, and then the Ottawa game was just kind of the nail in the coffin, but then back from the dead, Undertaker style, came Rochester. My only issue with them, Rylan Hartley, you got to stop playing like a maniac. You got to start putting crap together, man. This whole thing of Rylan Hartley not being consistent has got to stop. It's about 3 years old now. Ron Hartley, the penalties aside, dude, you got to lock in. And if the Rogers and Nighthawks are going to even sniff a chance at a championship, you have to be better. And I'm tired of coming on this show and saying that Riley Hutchcraft once again stole your minutes, bro. You have to be better. And I don't know what else to say about it. Number 7, the Rock have dropped 1 spot. And number 8, the Ottawa Black Bears are back into the playoff mix for me. That means San Diego is out at number 9. Number 10 is Las Vegas still. 11 is Halifax. The Wings stay at 12. And I have Oshawa jumping above Calgary. They both suck, but at least Oshawa can be competitive in their losses and show some fight. Calgary, once they get blown out, they're pretty much blown off the floor. So that's it for my NLL Power Rankings. That graphic will be posted later. Thanks so much for tuning in to today's awesome show. Scott Fox was brilliant. Head over to cufla.ca if you are a high schooler considering playing here in the States. I don't like field lacrosse enough to push back on that. So play in Ontario if you want to help yourself out. And as Miko Trike said, and Scott Fox did, there are NLL players playing in the CU and the CUFLA. That's pretty impressive. I also think CUFLA is a weird thing to say, so the CUFLA is just fine for me. I'm weird. Thanks so much for watching today's show. Tomorrow, we will create the narrative among other things on the show. We will see you then. I am your host, Michael Karvelis. Thank you to Captain for helping us get Scott Fox as a guest. Until then, this has been Dilly Dive on North American Talk Radio. See you tomorrow.